So what I'm going to do is I'm going to find out what's going on with this part. And if we look at the geometry, always double check on the geometry. Notice that when you select something on the UV editor, it automatically selects it on the perspective on any of your cameras. I use a perspective view because it allows me to more control on going around. So use that as a guide so that you know where you're mapping and such. That weird, strange part over there at the bottom that look flat, that look like a single line, is the base. Because the projection was cylindrical, it could not map the bottom because it was just projecting on the sides. That's how I know when I open your files that something has been missed or has been mapped from one angle that was probably not very convenient for it, because let's say that you have a side of a box that looks like that, and the side of a box should be what, a square. But then if it looks like that, it means that the projection, the mapping technique that you use probably needed a little bit more work to expand that face. So how do we do that? How would we expand that? Very easy. With that face selected, you can always select it here or on the UV editor. Go to planar. And let me zoom out so that you see what happened. See that when you hit planar, it immediately creates a projection. You see it here highlighted in yellow that is facing the actual top bottom part of the base. So I'm going to click off the planar and I'm going to move this aside. Remember, we always want to keep everything inside this default texturing area, but for now I'm going to move items outside that area so that I have more room to work with. When I'm done texturing everything, then I'm going to just scale everything down to fit in this area over here, okay? So let me zoom in and see what's going on over here, okay? Let's take a look in our perspective view. And there it is. You're going to notice some seams. These seams happen when there are edges that are not welded, or when you break down your geometry in several pieces. You're going to have this thicker green lines showing you that there's an edge over there. That's what it's telling you. And that doesn't seem that should be there. We should have one nice continuous seam that, you know, pretty much wraps around the geometry, but it's not happening that way. So what do we do? How do we fix that? I'm going to go to vertex mode, and I'm going to zoom in to that area. Notice that, you know, if I do that, any of these get selected here on the editor. So I'm going to click there, and out of curiosity, let me move my window over here and select the move tool on the UV editor so that you see what I'm doing here. If you do that, you're going to notice that when you move it, it shows you two different UVs in that same location over here. So that shouldn't be happening. That shouldn't be that way, and it's probably because of the modeling. They probably revolved this around a spline or something like that. I'm not sure what method they use for creating this object. Or maybe there was an opening somewhere and it wasn't welded properly before they extruded for the rest of the geometry. But I can tell you how to fix this, and this will help you out with other stuff. Notice that when we click on any of those, the other one gets highlighted. What it means that is that they correspond to the same place. So it's going to be as easy as, let me show you here, and I want to show you over here too so that you can see it. There's two ways to weld this. What we want to do is weld it. When we weld it, what's going to happen is we're going to have a proper edge over here highlighted in green, and this one will turn white, meaning that it's properly welded like this over here. So there's one option. You can select both of them and go to Tools, Weld Selected, and there you go. Now we have an edge, and you notice over here highlighted in green, and then we have you know, the line, meaning that is, you know, properly welded together. The other way to weld, let me put those